Chapter 2 notes, slope as a rate, and linear applications. Another way that mathematicians describe slope is they call it the rate of change. So it's how is a value changing over time, for instance. So we're looking for, like in this first example, it says, I drove 180 miles in 3 hours. And the question is, what was my rate? Well, when you're driving, a rate is common rate is miles per hour. So I would do 180 miles per 3 hours. Okay. Well, that is the answer to that expression, or if I simplified it, would tell me the slope of a line if I was graphing this drive. And 180 divided by 3 is 60. So the slope is 60 miles per hour. Okay? In our equation, that's what I would put in for the x, or next to the x, okay, as the slope. So this is a way that we can have slope given to us by giving us a rate, okay? And you'll know it's a rate because it uses the word per, something per something. In the next example, I did 15 math problems in 10 minutes. What was my rate? Well, in this case, we'd be interested in problems per minute. So it's 15 problems per 10 minutes. Okay? And 15 divided by 10 is 1.5. So it's 1.5 problems per minute. That would be the rate, and that is also considered the slope. So if I wanted to write an equation, I could write 1.5x plus b. And the 1.5 would be my slope. So the key takeaway from this is that whenever we're given a constant rate like this, like 60 miles per hour or 1.5 problems per minute, that rate translates into the slope in a linear problem. The next example, I made $60 for working 4 hours at my job last night. What was my rate? So this would be like your pay. Like how much money do you get per hour? So the rate would be dollars per hour. So it was $60 and 4 hours. So if I divide that, I would get $15 per hour. So your pay at your job, if you have one, or someday you'll have one, the amount of dollars you make per hour, that is actually a slope. And I could write it, use it in an equation, I would put it next to x. And of course, the b would be the starting point. And that would vary from problem to problem. But the key part here is to take away that whenever I'm looking at a rate, and a constant rate, like miles per hour, problems per minute, dollars per hour, those are considered a slope. Now, here's an example of using that idea to write an equation. It says, suppose you start with $225 in the bank and you're able to spend $55 per week from what you earn at your job. Write an equation in y equals mx plus b form to represent the situation. Well, in the beginning part of the sentence, it says that you start with $225 in the bank. A starting point, that is the y-intercept, or the b. And the slope, of course, would be the rate, and I find the rate by finding the word per, so $55 per week, that means the 55 is my slope. So I can write an equation, and we'll just use y and x as the variables for right now. Y equals $55 per week plus $225. And sometimes people will replace those letters for the problem. So it might be something like my total equals $55 per week plus $225. But that's a linear equation, and I could graph this, okay? You can pay attention to the variables it tells you to use on your homework. Another example, suppose you have $200 in your checking account. You buy a renewing monthly subscription to a music app that costs you $9 per month. Write an equation, y equals mx plus b form. So, the $200 in your checking account, that is the starting point. That's your y-intercept. The cost $9, that is your slope. Okay, so I have a slope or a rate, and I have my y-intercept. Now, this says it costs you $9. So you're actually losing or subtracting $9 from your account by buying this app every month. So when I write the equation, it's negative 9x plus 200. I start with $200, and I'm losing or spending $9 per month. So slope, another way to describe slope is a rate, okay? And we can pick it out of a word problem or story problem by looking for the word per, something per something, that's the rate. That becomes the slope in your equation. And the starting point, or your initial value, is the y-intercept. And you should be able to pick those two pieces of information out of the word or story problem and then insert them into our equation. The good thing about this right now is that we only have one equation, y equals mx plus b, and you only need to know two pieces of information: the starting point, or the y-intercept, and the slope.